Hi everyone, welcome to NBR, Nonfiction Book Report, the show where we talk about new, noteworthy nonfiction books for your reading and viewing pleasure. I'm Natalie.
And I'm Michelle, and we're librarians at the Cook Memorial Public Library District.
Today's show is brought to you by the Cook Memorial Public Library District. We offer a wide range of library programming for our diverse community. You can see the library's programming at our website. Just click on events, or you can look at the ins and outs newsletter. You should have gotten that in the mail. And you can always stop at the library, stop at the reference desk. We're happy to answer questions about our programming as well as help you get registered.
Today's NBR is also brought to you by the Bookies. If you're looking for fiction recommendations, the Bookie team has you covered. Their extensive video library can be found right on the Cook Memorial Public Library YouTube page. Just click on the Bookies playlist.
It's right there.
Yeah.
All right, well, with that out of the way, today's show, it's December, and our theme is Gifts. I wear my gift dress.
I wear red.
It's December, tis the holiday, right?
Tis the season.
And it's giving is in the air, and we have two books for you. We're gonna gift you two books for this December. And the book I'm gonna be talking about, The Art Thief, a true story of love, crime, and a dangerous obsession by Michael Finkel.
That sounds cool. Tell me about it.
So this book is about Stefan Breitweiser, and he is a very prolific art thief. He ended up, over the course of 200 brazen heists over 10 years in museums and churches across Europe, Breitweiser, along with his girlfriend, we'll get into her later, she served as lookout, stole more than 300 artworks worth an estimated $2 billion in total before the unprecedented crime spree just came to a crashing halt.
I need to know about this.
All right, well, Stefan, he was born in 1971 in France.
Okay.
That's not what you were thinking, is it? You were
No,
thinking this is
that's
like
not.
an older something older that's happened
right,
hundreds
like
of years ago.
1920s. Yeah.
Yeah, 100 years ago,
Right?
the 1920s.
Yeah.
No, this is contemporary. Stefan was born in 1971. He was born in France. He lived in France with his mom, his dad, and his brother. It wasn't always happy times. He talks a bit in the book about how he would seek solace at museums. Whenever his parents were fighting or he would feel a little bit restless, he would ask to be taken to a museum, and they would drop him off at a museum.
Okay.
Yeah, I know, right? They wouldn't go to a museum as a family. No, they would drop him off and pick him up hours later. And he would just wander the museum. It was his happy place. Okay. When he graduated high school, the one and only job he ever had was, what do you think?
Tell me.
A museum guard? A security guard at a museum?
That fits, right?
Right?
That fits.
Yeah, he was just drawn to it. He worked there less than a year, but he worked there long enough to learn a lot of things that helped him give himself many gifts later on in his life.
Give himself gifts.
He's gifted himself many art pieces throughout history. He's
in charge of his own self-care.
He really was. And he was an expert at prioritizing his own needs and desires. So Stefan, with the help of his girlfriend Anne Catherine Kleinklaus, they started in, I think it was 1990, was it 95 to 2001. So but they started, and they we've recorded this so many times I can't remember. They were, that's what I was trying to say. 3 weekends out of a month.
Okay.
So they would only go on the weekends because Anne Catherine had a full-time job. She was the one who was supporting them. They lived in his mom's upstairs attic. There was a couple rooms in the attic, and that was kind of their domain.
Rent free. That's another gift.
Yeah, she never went upstairs. Exactly, another gift. But he would on weekends they would go and scout, and at 3 weekends out of 4 they were stealing something from somebody.
Oh my God.
So one of the first things that they stole in 1997, well, not one of the first things, but one of the most notable things, they stole the Adam and Eve statue. We'll put a picture of that from the Richard Wagner Museum, which was in Switzerland. It's a beautiful statue, and I believe well, they believe, allegedly, that Anne Catherine placed that in a large tote or something. She also operated as a lookout for him. So like I said, when he worked at the museum, he would learn things like where screws are located in display cases. And then he would be very meticulous, and sometimes he would be able to turn the screw a quarter of a turn before somebody would come. And sometimes it would take him a couple weekends to unscrew something. So he would start the process and then have to come back. But anyway, he would, she would operate as the lookout, and she would also kind of be the voice of reason for their crime spree. She would often say, this isn't the right time. There's too many people. It's not right. And she would make him hold off or come back or wait until the situation was right. When he started to get in trouble, like I said, he operated over a very long period of time because of two things, I believe. I believe Anne Catherine, operating as sort of his Jiminy Cricket, helped him not get caught for as long as he didn't get caught. But also the other thing is that he never sold anything. And that was what was puzzling to the investigators over the time, because they couldn't find any, there was no word of these pieces. He wasn't in it for the trade. He wasn't in it for the money. He just wanted to have treasures in his room to look at. And in the beginning of the book, they show you a picture of the two rooms that he has in his mom's attic. And these are just sketches. It's like a graphic novel sketch. But it's a combination of museum and clutter, right? There's socks on what is this called? I can't think of the word. Lampshade. There's headphones and baseball caps on unmade beds. It's a 4-poster canopy bed with and on top of it is I think that log had things that he where they visited and stuff
that's
like
his
that.
notebook where they.
I believe that's what that notebook is at the top of his 4-poster canopy bed.
Also for the viewer, everything is mounted on every single nook and cranny that it possibly can. The ceiling is covered in stuff. The walls are covered in stuff. Wall to wall, door to door.
There's not a surface without a chalice.
There's not a surface that's not covered. There's a giant statue. What's
shoe.
A random shoe doing on the floor. There's there's rugs, there's statues, there's other artifacts like swords and it's crazy how much they packed into this little attic.
Yeah, over 200 pieces, I believe. 300 pieces. So he was caught in Switzerland. He had actually been arrested once in Switzerland for trying to steal something before. He fast talked his way out of it, ended up not really being held accountable in that instant, but he was a known person in Switzerland because of that incident. He had prints on record. So at one point, he went to a museum again in Switzerland without Anne Catherine and did something impulsive, according to him. And when he came back home and told her about it, she was upset because he didn't follow some of her safety protocols, like using gloves. So she actually talked him into going back the following weekend, and she wanted to erase his prints from the surfaces. So they get to the museum, they're in the park. He does not go inside, he stays outside, he's kind of loitering around the car. She goes inside to try to remove his prints, and it's at that point that they believe that somebody spies him loitering outside and gets suspicious, somebody who knew of the theft the previous weekend. So they called the police, and the police came and arrested him then. She didn't get arrested with him because she wasn't at the car, she was in the museum. So he's in Switzerland, and all of the artwork is in France in his mom's attic. And there's several days, maybe even a couple weeks, before the authorities can get to his home in France. And when they finally do, and the reason why these are sketches and not photographs is because when they arrived, everything was gone. It's unclear, Anne Catherine or his mom, Stengel is her name, last name Stengel. It's unclear if it was both of them together or if it was just Stengel. She's the one who ended up getting arrested and serving time for the destruction of the artwork in order to save her son. But Anne Catherine only spent 1 day in jail. So he did spend some time in jail. He was charged for the crimes in various countries. And then he was on house arrest as well. What's interesting about him, though, he actually wrote a book. So after he was arrested, he had the brilliant idea. He was going to be the Frank Abagnale of museums, right? Stefan Breitweiser was going to be the Frank Abagnale of museum security. The problem with that is, number one, the reason he was able to steal so many things is that most of these museums and churches and things operate on very small budgets. They don't have money for staff, let alone high-tech security, right? So that's the first problem as well. These museums don't have money to spend on consulting fees. But the second thing is that while he was on his book tour, he couldn't even stop stealing then. And it wasn't even art. He was at an airport and he thought that the security at the Armani store was just so lax, he might as well help himself to thousands of dollars worth of merchandise.
Oh my God.
And he was arrested again. So he is currently on house arrest, and there's pictures of the artwork that they did manage to recover. Oh, they found some in the canal by their home.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So some guy's just walking and he sees like something sparkly. It was probably one of these chalices. And he comes back the next day, and that's how they end up recovering some of these pieces.
Beautiful artwork.
Yeah, I think so. This is Adam and Eve there. It's a beautiful statue there.
Beautiful.
But then this one, I thought, this is the, so there's the chalices, the warship, the silver warship that he stole from the Art and History Museum in Brussels, Belgium. But this is the Lion and the Lamb, and this was stolen from the Abbey Moyen-Moutier in Moyen-Moutier, France. This thing weighed so much, it took him hours to steal it.
And no one cared about him dragging a giant wooden
Nobody
lion?
cared about, let me tell you about his
Like just standing by it.
brazenness, okay?
Oh my God.
Not even brazenness enough to steal 100-pound statues. He was brazen enough to call the police to his crime scene. I know, right? Okay, so here's what happened. He and Aunt Catherine are at some museum in Europe, and they end up stealing a painting. He throws it out the window because it's too big to steal. They go outside, they get the painting, they load it in the car, and they realize that there's a scratch on the car. The nerve of somebody to damage his property. He calls up the police, they come out, they fill out a police report standing next to the car with the priceless artwork inside, and fills out a police report for the property damage. Right? Yeah. I mean, it shouldn't surprise you if, I mean, this is coming from somebody whose mother prioritized his evading his, accountability for his crimes over priceless artwork. I mean, she dumped things into canals. Things haven't been found, and they think that maybe some things were set on fire in the woods. So there's some things that are not recovered.
Do you think that, what's his girlfriend's name?
Anne Catherine.
Do you think she
Kleinfaust.
could have some of it? Is that possible?
Anne Catherine has been really good about disappearing into the nothingness. There's not really a lot out there about where she is now, what she's doing. She spent one single day in jail, and it's not even sure if she was even charged with anything.
That's
so wow. I'm guessing that, and this is just pure subjection, my reading in between the lines. Perhaps she helped with getting him charged, and in exchange for something like that, then she was then given some clemency or whatever.
That makes sense.
Yeah. But anyway, so that's the story of the art thief. It was nominated on the Goodreads. So if you're on a Goodreads member, go to they have, the end of 2023, they have Vote for Your Best. This is one of the memoirs for 2023.
Oh, that's awesome.
That was, I don't know if it was memoir or nonfiction, but nominated for one of the Goodreads favorites. So you can go vote for that. And it was also almost made into a movie. So in 2016, Michael Pitt and Imogen Poots almost starred in a movie called The Silent Shepherd, which is all about Stefan. It was Hollywood, so they took the premise and then dramatized it, but it never actually got made into a movie.
Oh, really?
No, it didn't. I don't know what happened with it.
That's too bad.
Perhaps Stefan, his PR machine. But anyway, The Art Thief by Michael Finkel. Check it out. You can find it on our new shelves, as well as I believe it's on Libby Overdrive as an ebook. Check it out.
That's awesome. Thank you for that gift.
Oh, one more fun fact.
What?
One more fun fact. So, who do you think is the most stolen artist of all time?
Monet.
No, it's actually Picasso. Picasso. But another fun fact about Picasso, he is an art thief.
Really?
Yeah. So what happened was, he paid somebody to steal some statue, and I can't remember. Well, I'll put the statue here, what the details were of it. But he had paid someone to steal some statue from the Louvre, and he used that statue as like a model for some artwork. I don't know if it was a painting or sculpture, whatever he was doing. So that statue served as his model, and he used it for a couple of years. But then he got spooked because somebody reported a theft, and he didn't want to get caught, so he actually paid the person to put it back. So he is an uncaught art thief and the most stolen artist, Picasso.
That's interesting. Cool.
Fun. All right, what gift do you have for me?
Okay, so for today's book, I have What It Takes to Save a Life by Dr.
There's a song, right?
Oh, yeah. Lifehouse, right?
I love that song.
I know, me too.
Well, it comes from Scrubs.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Well, I think, no, Scrubs and Grey's Anatomy both used it.
Okay.
Makes sense, right?
Yeah. So this is by Dr. Kwame Stewart. You can see him on the back. So he's
in his Scrubs.
He is in his Scrubs.
Yeah,
yes.
Cute.
So this is A Veterinarian's Quest for Healing and Hope. He is the founder of Project Vet Street.
Okay.
So he talks about why he decided to become a veterinarian, and he also talks about the animals in his lives. So this book is billed as Stewart finding an animal and just sort of like deciding he's going to do pro bono for that one animal. And he does do that. He absolutely does do that, but that's not the hook for me for this book. So the hook for me in this book is kind of learning about why he became a veterinarian and his upbringing, and then also discovering his work on Skid Row, which I'll get to in a moment.
On Skid Row.
What's that from?
The Little Shop of Horrors. It's a musical. It's big in our house.
The fallout from this mistake could have been very different, but he made this really big mistake in his life, and he did not get caught. If he did, it would have drastically altered the trajectory of his life, and he wouldn't have been able to do the work that he went on to do if he did get caught. So this is healing for him, healing for the people that he helps, healing for the animals in his life that come into his practice. I think he has his own practice. I think he also worked in a shelter that was a kill shelter for a period of time. He goes out into the streets and he helps people on the streets. So it
probably helps his heart, to be able to.
It does.
Yeah.
So he talks about working on Skid Row, which is a neighborhood that has notorious reputation. What did we discover was the actual name of that neighborhood?
Oh, did you say
East South Central?
East South Central.
I think
Angeles.
it's East South Central Los Angeles.
We'll put it in.
Yeah, the neighborhood has an actual name besides Skid Row. But generally, this neighborhood has a giant reputation because of its proximity to LA and Hollywood, and just the number of famous people that have had time on Skid Row, either living there or congregating there, and then told their stories in music and books and other high-profile platforms. And Stewart writes about Skid Row from empathy. So to him, it's not just this like neighborhood with this giant Hollywood reputation. It's not a biopic. Like, it's a book about people who are human, actual living people that are familiar to people that I know. Too? It's like relatable. I've met people like this. I've seen people going through similar whatevers.
We all have our struggles. Some of them wear them a little bit more openly than others.
And everybody's got a story. And so the people in this book are relatable to the reader and not just some, other story. So I did want to mention right here that I do want to mention trigger warnings for this book. There is quite a few. Mental illness, homelessness, crime, suicidal ideation, euthanasia are just some of them. So I think you should go into it knowing that, if I'm honest. So
and we'll pause right here. If anybody is struggling with any of those issues, we'll put a helpline for you to call. There is support out there for you. You are not. You are not alone. You are not alone. Thank you.
You are not alone.
You are not alone, and this too shall pass.
Yeah, and seek help. We'll get that hotline.
Tomorrow can be a better day.
It absolutely can.
All right, sorry I interrupted.
No, you're good. That's an important message. And so we learn about the homeless population that he helps. He talks about homeless people having animals. And I think that there's some people that don't think that homeless people should have animals. Like, how dare they, subject an animal to that. But like in this book, he argues that homeless people aren't taking the animals that people like you and I who are going to get. They're taking in animals that are already homeless themselves. And
There's no French bulldogs.
There's no French bulldogs. So they're
taking teacup poodles.
They're taking in animals that are already homeless, who are, who need someone to care for them, and the animals need the homeless people, and the homeless people need the animals. They take care of each other. They are companions, and the animals need companions too. So we learn about Stuart's relationship with animals. His mom would get dogs, and she would get several, and then
was she like a foster? Would you foster them?
No, I mean, he would take care of them.
Oh,
yeah.
Just pets.
He was pets, and he was a child. He would just take care of the animals his mom got.
What?
Okay. Yeah. Anyway,
mine don't take care of our pet. I didn't know it worked like that.
No.
He was a better son than.
So we learn about the relationship that he has with these animals. He was kind of a skinny kid growing up, and he got picked on, and he took solace in these relationships that he had with his pets and with his animals. And as he grew up, he didn't really see very many Black veterinarians. He wanted to be a Black veterinarian, to be a role model for other Black kids, so that they could see important. That they can be a veterinarian as well.
It's not just basketball and rapping.
It's not. So we learn about the techs that he works with. One of them, there's a story about how she worked at a kill shelter, and she would very intentionally not wear her scrubs outside of work because people would yell at her. They would scream obscenities.
I thought you were going to say because I thought she was in the medical profession and they were going to ask her for advice about a rash or something.
No.
It was more
she
for her
would
safety.
be subjected to abuse from the public when they found out that she was in charge of subjecting euthanasia to animals that were not adopted. Never mind her own trauma of having to do it.
Right.
Just
to be able to put a roof over her head.
Right. Just
Otherwise,
to like
she's
have
on
her,
the street.
her rent because she's working at the shelter because she loves animals, and then people subject her to abuse because of it. So she
be kind to one another, people.
Yes, you never know what people are going through. He just talks about the humanity in relation to the workers, the people, the animals that he's helping,
and the community,
and just the community at large that benefits from our relationship that we have with pets and with animals, and just taking care of our companions. So he talks about saving himself, saving the people that he works with, saving his colleagues, how they save him in return. And it's just a really good book. If you like pets. So if you're interested in fiction or nonfiction with inspirational narratives, this would be a really good book for you. It doesn't have any religious content or discussions at all, but I think it would also be of interest to people who like reading narratives about Christianity, spirituality, and Christian fiction and nonfiction. So again, this book is How to Save a Life by Dr. Kwame Stewart, a veterinarian.
And I think What It Takes Its Life, it's on the shelves, but I think it's also at Cloud Library as an ebook.
Yep.
So you can check that out.
Yes, in our Cloud Library app. If you need help with getting started with any of our apps, please come to the library or give us a call and we'll be happy to get you started. So with that...
So if you want to check out Art Thief, What It Takes a Life, come on to the library.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
What should viewers do if they want to join in the discussion? Maybe they've read a book about gifts or gifting.
Or pets.
Or pets.
Or art.
Or maybe have you read the books that we're talking about today?
Yes, if you read them, you want to chime in and maybe I missed a fun fact or I got something wrong. Wouldn't be the first time. We would love for you to join in the conversation. Just in the bottom, click on comment and add your comments in. You can also like the video and make sure you subscribe to the channel as well so you don't miss our next episode.
So we'll be back with next month's Nonfiction Book Report. Don't forget to check out our sponsor. You can find the Bookies playlist on the CMPLD YouTube channel. So many fabulous reading recommendations there. I love their videos.
Awesome. And so we'll be back in January, the second Friday in January, where we'll be talking about New Year, New You.
New Year, New You.
So we'll see you in January. And until then, I'll see you at the reference desk.
Bye.
Bye, guys.